Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Be Your Own Hero Show. Welcome to the Be Your Own Hero Show. I'm your host, I'm Sacred Rights. I am a professional creative. And thanks to New Thought. Now I got it confused with Reverend Mel's church. New Thought Media Network. New Thought Media Network up here. New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and the opportunity to ride and fight and do all the things I've been able to do because of this this TV show I've had. Someone asked me the other day, "How long have you had a show?" And I was like, "Man, I've had years." He was like, "Years?" I was like, "Yeah, I've had the show for years." So hence that's why I've also tweeting on, well, showing on Instagram, yeah, Instagram Live, so I can let more people know about the fact that I have a show and I've had one for years. And I had one before I I fell down to a stroke, and I had two strokes, and I didn't want to do the show at all after that. But Reverend Mel, Reverend Mel, she pushed me and she got me involved, and thank goodness she did. And I've been using this platform to talk about everything, talk about the things that are happening with me in terms of a stroke, in terms of everything. And before that, if you're familiar with the show, before that, the show was about money. It's about money. So I still weave that in there too. All right. So here we go. Here we go. All right. So now I think I think that's it in terms of the intro. Yeah, I think that's it in terms of the intro. Fee King, my fiance, was just texting me like, "Tell me how your run was," and I was like, "No run, no run." It's funny because I was doing my transcendental meditation this morning, and I fell asleep so badly that he started started the next transcendental meditation. So what happens is the notification goes off every hour on the hour. And so I listened for the first hour and then woke up the second hour. So anyway, this just is sharing with you some of me and how sometimes it's hard to get up and hard to get out and hard to get it done. But I will get it done today. I will get it done today because yesterday was 333 of my run streak. I've been running, walking, exercising for 333 days now, and that's something to be said for. Something to be said for. And last thing, someone compared it to my previous run streak. I had run for 400. Uh oh, uh oh. There we go. All right, there we go. So had compared my previous run streak of 409 days to my current run streak of 333 days. And I have not been talking about my previous run streak. I have not been talking about my previous run streak because it feels separate from me. You understand? Like, the separation of the stroke, of the two strokes, like that seems like the separation between what was before, and that's all that was before, and what's happening now. And so I don't really think about the 409. I don't really think about that. I think about what's current because what's current is much harder. Much harder. It's much harder to run now than it was before. And it's what a blessing to realize that, because before it was just about willpower. It was just about willpower. But now I've got to overcome physical attributes, physical things that are challenging. So yeah, it's harder. It's harder. So I've been contemplating these new these new steps as more important in some way to me. Although my goal here is 410, because that will bring me full circle. I will have gone past the 409 that I left it at before. Okay, enough of that about that. Let's get into money. All right, so let's read our affirmation together. I am so happy and so grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Okay. This is what happened. What happened was I was kind of off yesterday, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, and I threw something out there, and what I threw out there found something. It found an audience. I was looking at the notes, and Donna Marie said she's gonna try it, and Fatima West said she's gonna try it, and B King said she's gonna try it, and my mom said that there was a lot of good information yesterday. I was like, what? And so I really had to revamp yesterday and figure out what it was about yesterday that made it stick with so many people, because I haven't had a response like that in a long time. And I figured it out. What I've been doing, shame on me, is I've been doing the lecture thing. That's what I call it, the lecture thing. The lecture thing is when you're doing something so long, you've gotten so embedded with it that you start speaking about it as if everybody knows what you're talking about. But that's not true. And so I've got to peel the layers back to where I originally was and start from there, because there's lots to be learned. So, can I get a drum roll? I haven't done a drum roll in a long time. A drum roll. Here we go. Drum roll. So my drum roll is for the basics. I've got to focus on the basics. And so the most important thing is mindset. And I know that's not going to make much sense to you, but I've got to emphasize that your mindset has to change, right? And so what I was talking about yesterday was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Let me put him up on the screen or Instagram. I'm just putting up a title of putting up the book title of the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So there it is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's been out forever, and it's got all kinds of good information in it. Yesterday, I talked about the fact that, let me see if I can get this quote. So I was struggling with it yesterday. Let me see if I can get this quote. Both dads paid their bills on time, while one paid his bills first and one paid his bills last. Both dads paid their bills on time, but one paid his bills first and one paid his bills last. Now, you've got to think about that, because you have to know that it's the rich dad that paid his bills last and the poor dad paid his bills first. Now, when I say poor, I'm talking about a college-educated, PhD, well-incomed, if I can use that as a word, person. And so he's doing things the way that we're taught to do things, right? And then his other father, Richard Kiyosaki, the author of the book, or Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the book, had a second dad who his father hadn't even finished high school, right? So he hadn't even finished high school, and he's telling him to pay his bills last. He's like, oh, I don't know. But I'm telling you that is the way to go. That's the way to go. That Robert chose the right way to go because he had these two fathers and he was influenced by both of them. And ultimately, he had to decide. He chose to go with the father who didn't finish high school, but went on to be a super famous, super wealthy person versus his father who was doing all the right things, and wasn't able to break free of being middle class. All right. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you, but what was the other quote? It's another quote. No, I can't forget the other quote, and I can't look at it because I'm using my phone to broadcast to Instagram Live. So I'll do this. What I'll do is I'll talk about Fee King's question because she asked me this morning, should she place the money in I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to get it right. So let me pull it up on the what am I talking about? The section of the book, right? So let me find it right quick, and I can find it really quickly. Here we go. Share this tab. All right, and hope this. Okay, so here we go. So folks on Instagram, I basically put up a chart of Robinhood. Now, there's also a circle around buying power of $86. Buying power of $86. Now, so what Fee King is asking me is if she should continue to put the money into buying power and then New Year's Eve buy something. Like, where all the hype and the feeling is there, go in and buy something. Right? Now, I'm going to emphatically say no. I'm going to emphatically say no. Because this is what happens. I have a very accurate measure of this. When I lost everything via the stroke, I lost everything. I lost my memory. I lost my ability to walk. I lost everything, and including my thoughts about anything. So the way it's been happening in my mind is that my areas are kind of shortened, right? But when I get reached by a certain person or certain situation, then all of a sudden my brain will start blossoming into that person. So to make that simple, like my stock, I completely forgot that I had stock. Completely forgot that I had stock. Now that's a big thing, right? And then once I remembered it, I was like, okay, what's my password? And I was like, I do not remember passwords. I did not remember any kind of passwords. And then thankfully I had my thumbnail hooked up. And so I was able to get in. But anyway, what we're seeing here is the buying power. The buying power of Robinhood, right? Now, Robinhood, you can tweak the buying power. You can tweak the buying power so that you can get more. So you can get about 5%, which is great. 5%, which, I mean, 5%? Like, where can you get 5% now? Right? That's a huge thing. But that's exactly why I did not turn it on. That's exactly why I did not turn it on, because What happened is when I fell because of the stroke, when I forgot all these things, when I became aware of them, and when I started to study them again, I noticed that everything had grown. All my stocks had gone up. Now I've forgotten about them, right? I'm laying on the hospital bed, right? I'm aware of nothing, but that money was still creeping up, creeping up, creeping up. And so what I found out is that the buying power stayed the same. Now, I admit I could have had it set up for 5%. You can check that out if you want. But what it made me think of is, no, I just need to invest quickly. I need to invest quickly. You need to invest quickly because what happens is if we leave this $86 until New Year's, that's, I don't know, 30 days or so. And then that's been sitting there. It's been sitting there just aside. Now, there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for having your money set aside, but it's not invested. If it's not invested, then it's not earning you money as you go. And if it's not earning you money as you go, it's not making money while you sleep. Money while you sleep. This is it. This is it. This is how you make money while you sleep. You've been wondering how to do it. Here it is. And it's so simple that people ignore it. And I did too. I did too. Because it's so simple. Once you get it, it's so simple. It's like, oh yeah, I do this all the time. Right. And so let's retrack. Let's run it back. Number one is you have to set aside money now. You have to set aside money now. I'll come back to that. Let's set aside money now. And then you have to invest it now. You need to invest it now. Because I just talked about this one more time, that once you're off the grid, like in my case, completely off the grid, couldn't think of anything to do with stock, right? Completely oblivious. It was still increasing. It was still increasing. Like where does that happen? Where does that happen? So in order to have your money, make money while you're sleeping, you need to invest it quickly. You need to quickly invest it quickly. So you need to move it from buying power into something quickly. That's it. Now let's go back to setting money aside. Now, I've been rich a couple times. I've been really rich a couple times. The most recent time I was earning over $200,000, $216,000, something crazy. I was earning a lot of money, right? And I thought that once you had that money, everything was set. Like I thought that once you were earning that much amount of money, once you're earning $200,000, then everything is great. Now everything was great now. Everything was great, but I thought everything took care of itself for the time rolling forward. That's not true. That is not true. That's not true. So those of you who are trying to think of where can I get some more money, it ain't about the money. It ain't about the money. I'm here to tell you, it ain't about the money. It's about what you do with the money you get. It's about what you do with the money you get. That's the secret. That's the secret. That is the whole game changed on its ear. Tossed on its ear, flipped around, right? The whole thing is, it's about how much it's about, wait a minute. It's about what you do with the money as it comes in. As it comes in. That's what happens, right? So that's it. That's really it. Like there's lots of different ways you can encircle it and figure it out, but basically that's it. The main thing is You have to set your money aside. It's not about trying to find something else that's going to pay you more. It's not about that. It's about whatever money you got coming in right now. Right now, you got to move it. You got to take a piece of it and pay yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. And I gotta admit that I thought this was some nonsense. I did. I was paying myself. Paying myself, what? Right? And I tell you what happened for me is I was reading old books, like 1800 books, like old books, The Science of Getting Rich, like old books, 1920s, like old books. And then I saw something that reminded me of something current. Reminded me of a current book, like the one we were just talking about, Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And they both said, set aside some money, right? And I was like, what? like what? Like the difference between the difference between like everything about this book as compared to this book, there's nothing similar about them. But they both said, put some money in your pocket. Well, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. And they said it different ways, but they said the same thing. Pay yourself first. And I tried it. I tried it very small too. I tried it with a payment. I tried it with a payment. I put aside 10%, and I felt scared. I felt terrified. Right? I did. I transferred that 10%, and then I went immediately to paying bills. Right. Well, what happened is the next time I got paid, I was like, wait a minute. I paid all my bills. And nothing extra came out. I put that money aside and nothing came out. Like I wasn't looking for that money. And I was like, all right, wait a minute. So let me try it again. So I did 2 paychecks in a row. Took away 10% and put it away in the brokerage account. And I was like, at the time, it wasn't even a brokerage account. At the time, it was just a savings account. But I put it away in the savings account where I could transfer it back if needed. But once again, I didn't need it. I was like, wait a minute now. What's happening? What's happening? And I tried a third time and a fourth time. And after the fourth time, I was like, what is happening? What's happening? So I taught myself that you've got to set aside the money as it comes in. Once you set aside the money as it comes in, then everything else will take care of itself. Like you can spend the money that you got, the 90%, you can spend that and do whatever you want with that. But that 10%, you've got to save it. You've got to save it. And eventually, you've got to put it in a brokerage account. And eventually, you've got to put it in a brokerage account and put in a brokerage account and invest it. Right? So I'm chopping up a lot of things together, and I realized that I've been doing that with my show here. So I'm trying to break this down. The first thing is you have to take some money and pay yourself. You have to do this experiment for yourself. And you've got to try it, and you'll see yourself how different your life will be. But you got to try it though. You have to try it. You have to try it. And the better you get at it, the more you will see the mansion at the end of the trees, right? You will see for yourself, right? So that's the first thing. First thing is pay yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Ashe. You've got to do that for yourself. And then those of you who have done that, you've got, like Fee has, you've got this chart of $86. That's great. That's great, but you need to invest it now. You need to invest it now because it needs to be working while you sleep. It needs to be working while you sleep. I can't emphasize that enough. It needs to be working while you're sleeping because when I had my stroke and I was completely out of everything, I was struggling. I was struggling. I'm still struggling, but not as much as I was then. And I finally looked at my money and I was like, yo, everything was green. Everything was green. Everything grew while I was down. You want that. You want that. So no matter what happens with you, your money will grow. Your money will grow. All right. All right. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me check the comments and see what people are saying. People are saying, oh, people are saying on stuff on Instagram too. Love you for the focus and execution. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And let me see what's up on the comments. So I've been committed to transferring my money as soon as I think about it. Yes. Yes. So this is Fee King, my fiance. She's talking about I've been committed to transferring our money as soon as she thinks about it. Yeah, it's you've got to get it in your system. You got to get it in your system. And as soon as you get it, as soon as you get the money, you got to transfer it. I should have said that before. You have to transfer the money as soon as you get it. Like, don't wait 2 or 3 days. Don't wait 2 or 3 days after payroll. Set up an alarm on the day that you get paid and get in there and transfer your money immediately. Immediately. You got to do it immediately, because if you don't, then it gets foggy. Then it gets tricky. You want to do it immediately as soon as you get the money. Transfer some into your, well, technically a brokerage account, but at least a checking, a savings account, right? You want to save that money. You want to save that money. Now, and notice how this applies to middle class people as much as it applies to people who are trying to figure out how to do whatever. Like, it applies to middle class people too. It applies to middle class people too. You've got to set yourself aside some money and put it aside. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how far I should go, but that's it. That's it. Okay. Let's see. Fee King is inviting her people to watch the show. Watch the show. Let's see what Linda's saying. That we manage our money, not let it manage us. Yes. Yes. You've got to manage the money, not let it manage you. Yeah. Yeah. And that reminds me of a quote. No. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it, because that quote will carry me too far over. But there's a quote I'm gonna start with tomorrow, talking about Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's good for that. Okay, let's see what else we got. We got good morning. Good morning. And I'm getting closer and closer to my $1,000 emergency fund. Yes. Emergency fund, yes. Okay. I've run out of time, but all right, I will talk about the emergency fund tomorrow. I'll talk about the emergency fund tomorrow. Yes, but remember, you must pay yourself. You must. You've got to do the exercise and try it yourself. And that's when things will happen for you. All right. All right. Now is better than perfect. Now is better than perfect. Now is better than perfect. Ashe. And I'll see you tomorrow.